So I found the cheapest Harley I've ever seen at my local dealer. I rode it, I'm gonna review it, tell you what I like, what I don't like about it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now all of this is big thanks to American Biker here in Latson, South Carolina for letting me come out and take a look at this 2013 Sportster 883 Super Low. So if you like what I do here and you wanna check out this bike or one of the many Indians and Ravacos and other motorcycles and trikes they have, come talk to Rob at American Biker. Now, the big reveal, well, probably not a huge reveal because I put it in the thumbnail, I'm sure, but this is a 13 Sportster 883 with 10,000 miles for $3,500. Now, these bikes brand new are $8,000. The irons are $9,000, or at least they were when, they were still producing them. But you got a lot of history here in one of these motorcycles. And one thing that Harley and Indian do really well is they always pay homage to bikes of the past while upgrading over time. And this is one of the blasts from the past that you can get. I mean, it's one of the iconic motorcycles in Harley's lineup. Even now, that's just my opinion, but I really believe that. You have a motor in the Evo that came out in '86 and relatively unchanged from 1986 to 2021. I think this first Sportster was 1957? So these things have been a staple in the community for a really long time. Now, as far as some of the features on this bike specifically, it is the Super Low. So you have like a 25.5 inch seat height, 573 pounds. This one has a little bit bigger tank, which I like compared to like the Iron. It's a 4.5 gallon tank. Whoever owned this bike put the Saddleman seat on there. Normally they come with a solo seat. Pretty nice setup. It's actually set up for a passenger as well. You got the pillion and all that, and the sissy bar. We of course talked about the motor itself. Stock, these things are like 50 horsepower. And it's a really good beginner motorcycle because of how forgiving this bike is. But if you want to learn how to work on your bike, the platform here, there's no better one, because Harley Davidson obviously it has huge support in the aftermarket world. And what you see on this bike, like the Harley Davidson lockable bags, the passenger pillion, the sissy bar, the crash bars, that's just a small percentage of the things you can actually put on these bikes. I mean, you could do engine work. You could make this 883 really scream. But as it sits right now, it is fairly tame on the road. Now, 13 was right before, I think in 16 or 17 is when they introduced ABS, keyless ignition, all of that kind of stuff. So you have the key on the right-hand side. You have a single instrument cluster. This is pretty much unchanged. For the most part, you have a digital tachometer, analog speedometer. You have a little neutral indicator. You have a low-level fuel light. You have your left and right turn signals, one on each bar, your lights, your horn. Fairly simple. Clutch is really easy to engage and disengage. Of course, your mirrors, it's really popular to flip these mirrors upside down. Gives you a little better visibility in my opinion too. I'm working on a review comparing this to the Scout 60 that's sitting right over here. And one thing I would personally do is I would relocate these more to the front, because I just hate my knees sitting up so high underneath me. It's just really an uncomfortable position. But it is something, again, you can probably still go straight to Harley and get the relocation kits or get them from an aftermarket company. So that's a nice part about this. Even though you may not like everything about the bike straight from the factory, you can change almost anything on them. We got the pipes on the one side, and they are kind of a staggered formation. Like I mentioned before, we got hard lockable bags. Whoever the previous owner was put these bags on here. We have the halogen Zeppelin light. We have our license plate holder right there. And then these tail turn signals are actually bracketed to the saddlebags here. So it actually comes as a setup there that you can't really remove the bags and still keep the turn signals unless you rewire the bike. So my experience on the road with these things, and I had a 17 Iron 883. And my experience on the road with this bike is pretty impressive. I don't like the seating position because I don't like where the pegs are. The handlebars, a new set of handlebars will do wonders for this motorcycle. But overall, the strength of the motor and the amount of custom parts you can do on these bikes, you can customize to your heart's desire or not, is really impressive. And the Evo motor has been around so long that you really get essentially a bulletproof motor. And so if you're looking for your first motorcycle or maybe your first Harley, I honestly don't think there is a better option. You might be able to find the used irons for $5,000, $6,000 maybe. But if you take this bike at $3,500, you put another $3,000 into it, let's say, you'll have a $6,000 awesome machine, windshields and motor work and all kinds of stuff. So it really is probably the best beginner Harley that you can buy on the road, period. And with the price continuing to kind of drop on these things, it makes it even more attractive. Like I said, this bike has 10,000 miles on it. It is barely broken in. It still has the original tires at that. And so all in all, I am very impressed with this motorcycle. And you know, to be honest with you, I have complaints about the Iron 883. The power was lacking, but I'm somebody who I don't really do engine work on my own and stuff like that. That's not something I do, right? So I wanted to get out of my Iron fairly quickly after I got it, but all the way around, this is one of the most respected, or one of my most respected and best motorcycles when it comes to the Harley Davidson lineup, especially for beginners, women or men. This is a really solid machine. I'm impressed with it, man. $3,500. This thing offers everything you need in a motorcycle to start out with. That's what I think about it. I'd love to hear your opinion of the Sportster 883. What you like, maybe what you don't like. If you have one, let us know down below. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.